I recently was acquainted with Gigi and through a mutual associate, she sent me the video of her story. I was so excited to talk to her because we have so much in common. I have my own terminal liver cancer survival story. We share this bond, this very special bond. So let me bring her on now and introduce you. Here she comes. Hi, Gigi. Hey, thank you so much for joining us, for making time out of your busy schedule. I can't wait for you to share your story with our audience of people who really need to hear this powerful information. I mean, girl, what you have got is like game changing, life changing, like puts the fire out to anybody who wants to dispute this topic. I'm not going to take away your thunder, but I want to build it up so people really appreciate what you have to say here. Okay. So,
Thank you so much.
yeah. So tell us about a little bit about you, and then I'll just let you take it over and tell your story because it is riveting.
Thank you so much. First of all, just really, I want to just thank you so much for having me. It's always such a privilege to be able to share my story. And if it can help one person, I feel like that's huge. So just a little bit about me. My name is Gigi. That's my nickname. My name is Robin Makaike. I live out in Hawaii.
Mhm.
And I've been into health and wellness for probably 20 or 30 years. I'm a health and wellness coach. But something interesting happened to me about 3 years ago, and that was that I got diagnosed with cervical cancer. And so, of course, you heard a little bit about my story, but the thing that was very, I guess, so shocking to me was that I'm a healthy girl. I'm a happy girl.
Mhm.
I eat well, I sleep, I exercise, and all of that. So, long story short, I I understood and I came to realize that the reason why my body was shutting down and why it was in such a weak state was because I had been under an enormous amount of stress
Yeah.
for the previous 5 to 10 years. So, for
Yeah.
anyone listening, yeah, and I know you know this,
Mhm.
you could be, you could eat well, everything right, but if you are carrying internal stress, and when I say internal stress, what I mean is, on the outside, everybody can see what's on the outside. And I'm a very joyful and happy person, but internally, I was dealing with a lot of very, very serious health, not health, but family issues.
Mhm.
And the stress and strain and anxiety of that was wreaking havoc on
Yep.
my system.
Yep.
And so I went into my OBGYN. I knew something wasn't right. He did some testing. I went in with my husband, and he told me that I'm at the beginning stages of very aggressive cervical cancer. And so I was in shock. I mean, I knew something wasn't right, but I don't know if I was ready to hear that I had cancer. And so what makes this story very interesting, which is what I shared previously, was that my husband actually is the chief physicist at Queen's Hospital here in Hawaii. So Queen's Hospital is the biggest hospital in Hawaii. And he's the chief of the radiation oncology department, which means that he has been treating cancer patients with radiation for the last, you know, 10 years. And now he's the chief and he's been in that field for 20. So imagine what it is like to be, all natural girl. I like to eat well, non-toxic, plant-based, all of that kind of stuff. And then to have a husband that is in the medical establishment, that's all
Yeah.
he knows,
Yeah.
20 years
Yeah.
of just schooling and just the straight-laced conventional way of going about. When I got the diagnosis, he said, so what are you going to do? And I said, well, I need to think about it. And the doctor and my husband, they're both basically, one has a PhD in nuclear physics. That's my husband. The other he's a doctor for OBGYN. They both looked at me like, you did hear what I said, right? And
Right.
I heard what you said, but I want some time to think about it.
Right.
So the OBGYN said, well, this is very aggressive. Please, if you're gonna think about it, in other words, do something quickly because we need to take care of this.
Right.
My husband was really quiet. Now, when I left the office, I will tell you straight out, and I'm not going to mince any words. I was very, very angry.
Mhm.
Angry. Now, I know probably different people have different reactions.
Mhm.
I'm angry. And I'll tell you what I was angry at. I was angry because I felt like I had been stressing and helping all my kids, helping my husband, helping put out the fires for everybody else and
Mhm.
killing myself and, burning the candle at two ends.
Yeah.
And I was out there helping everybody. And guess what? All the stress and anxiety that I was carrying took such a heavy load that it weakened my immune system so that my body was not able to take care of the cancer cells because everybody has cancers.
Right.
And I was just livid. I was like, this is what I get. I did all this work for everybody. I put myself out there. I did this and this for my kids, for my husband. And I was just like beside myself. And I was just
Wow.
like, I went home and I sat with myself for about a good 24 hours. I was really, really quiet. And I had all this emotions in me. And
Mm.
I sat down and I said to myself, you have nobody to blame but yourself. Nobody forced you to do all of that because I was helping everybody,
Mm.
and nobody forced you to do that. You didn't get control of your stress and your sadness and your anxiety and all of
Mhm.
that.
Right.
This is nobody's fault but your own. You are in control of your life and you allowed this to happen to you. Now, I'm not saying this so that anybody else that hears this goes, "Huh? What? But what I'm saying is that I knew that for myself, that this was something that I could have prevented had I had more clear boundaries, had I had healthier boundaries, had I learned how to slow down and take better care of myself, had I just learned some very simple techniques. So, but I came to that assessment that I really had nobody to blame but myself.
Mm.
What I was doing, in essence, was taking my power back.
That's right. Good for
Right.
you. Yes.
Yeah. So if we blame our husband and our kids
Mhm.
and
Right.
the job and
Right.
where we live and our parents, whatever else we want to blame, because
Mhm.
we surely everybody would understand. Like
Yes.
if somebody knew my story, they'd be like, "Well, yeah, that
Yeah.
I totally get why."
Yeah.
But the thing is that blaming others doesn't does weakens you. It takes your power away. Because in the end, we're the ones that have control over what we say, what we think, what we do.
Mhm.
And so it was very painful, but it was very powerful. And
Mhm.
in that moment, when I came to that very clear understanding that I had allowed myself to be run ragged by my family and I allowed it. It was me, my desire to help, my
Yep.
desire to give. As women,
Overcommitting. Yeah.
yeah, as women,
Yes.
we give like it's very easy for me to say no to most people, but not to my kids, not to my family
Sure.
members. Like
Absolutely.
I'm a mother, like I will do anything for my
Right.
kids.
Right.
Um
Even
so
going to your grave, and that was proof that
right,
you were doing it. Yeah.
and here's the interesting thing. I used to say these kids are gonna put me in my grave.
Oh my.
And it was coming to fruition.
Oh my.
Yeah, which is be very, very careful about the words that you speak.
Be very careful.
Be very,
I
very
agree.
careful.
Yeah.
They manifest. And I
Right.
was that they're gonna be the death of me, they're gonna put in my grave.
Oh my.
Yeah. So when it actually came to fruition and my life was on the line, I was like, wow, this is literally my body shutting down. So the good news is that taking my power back was very powerful. And what I did was I sat with myself and began to map out and get a very clear understanding of why I was sick. Because I was sick. I was
Mhm.
sick. And I figured out a few key things. And that's what I'd like to share with you today. I do have a
Yeah.
part, but I can't figure out how to bring it up here. So I'm just going to talk and go.
That's okay. That's okay. That's all right. No
Yeah.
worries. No worries.
So
Well, it's your story. You don't need a PowerPoint. You
yeah, here are a few things that I figured out. And I'll just name a few.
awesome.
The first thing
And
was that, like mentioned earlier, I was under an enormous amount of stress.
yeah.
I had a very, very tragic news. Um, I had gone through a divorce. I had been married for 18 years. I had gone through a very difficult divorce. It was very painful for me, a lot of sadness, a lot of grief. That was one thing. I got some very, very tragic news about one of my family members that was very, very difficult to handle. In the lines of, if you could think about something very, very terrible that could ever happen to one of your family members, that's what I was dealing with.
Mhm.
So that and then my daughter went through a very bad divorce. My granddaughter was kidnapped. Um,
Oh,
sounds
my.
sounds like a soap opera, but my granddaughter was kidnapped, and I had to come up with $100,000 to fight and hire attorneys to get my
Oh.
granddaughter back.
Oh,
So
wow.
I had this divorce. I've had this tragic news.
Oh, my.
Terrible court case that went on.
Right.
Yeah, I had this huge amount of debt,
Oh,
um,
my.
I'm still under to a degree. And so this enormous amount of stress just kind of came to a head. So I identified the stress portion. With that stress and with that burning the candle both ends, I wasn't eating as well as I normally do. I wasn't
Mhm.
eating good nutrition like I normally do. I wasn't drinking water like I normally do. And I attributed the stress, the lack of taking care of myself and creating really healthy boundaries as the reason why I got the cancer. So when the first step was to really identify how I got it. Because if you ask someone that has cancer, why do you think you have the cancer? They oftentimes know and they'll tell you, well, I think it's because of this, this, or this. So I knew that this is why I had it. And the powerful thing about that was um, I knew what I needed to do to heal myself. So now,
It's wonderful.
yeah.
That's wonderful that you were listening to that. They call it, your gut instinct, right? They call it also the third brain, right?
Yeah,
So it's that
exactly.
kind of it's all of that we have inside, but so often, I just want to insert this. So
Yeah.
often, what happens to people, the fear and the intimidation by the expert
Yes.
overrides what they think they should do. So you had a foundation that, a lot of people don't have. And that's why we're here to give people this foundation so that, not only could you hopefully prevent that by like not having so much stress and figuring out how to unwind that, right? But then also, should you face something, not reacting in panic, which
Right.
I want to commend you for that you didn't react in panic because that's exactly how the system is designed to do is to get people under more stress. Right. And so, anyway, so I'll let you go ahead, but I just want to
No,
insert that.
thank you for sharing that because I want to tag on that and build up on that because what you brought up is very powerful. If you heard what Carrie said, what she said was that people operate in intimidation. So think about this: I have a doctor, and I have
Mhm. Yeah.
my,
Double.
hus- my husband runs the depart the big. He is the chief
Oh, man.
well in the state of Hawaii, and he deals with cancer patients every day. Now, this is what my husband told me. He said, if you don't listen to your doctor and do this procedure that they wanted me to do, he said, you'll be dead within a year. This is coming from my husband
Right.
who deals with cancer patients every day.
Right.
Okay. So for me to say, no, I'm going to take time to
Mhm.
think about why I have it
Mhm.
and think about how I can heal myself. Now, I'm not saying that everyone should do that.
Mhm.
Everyone has to walk their walk and
Right.
make a decision that is best for them. But when I figured out why I had the cancer, because of my health background, I knew that I could heal myself naturally. That's me. I'm not saying everybody can do that. In fact, when most people are diagnosed, the majority of people, they say, I want it out, get it out, cut it out. I'm going to do whatever it takes, get it out. That's the majority. There's another 20% of people that are so scared out of their minds. Um, and that have been struggling in their life for so long,
Right.
they just want to die. And when they get that
Right.
diagnosis,
Exactly.
there's so much fear and so much
Right.
stress, and so much anxiety, they die soon after.
That's right.
And then there are people like me, and I'm not saying I'm better or worse. I'm just saying different types of personalities. Now there are people like me. They say about 10% that say, you know what? I can heal this, whether it's all natural, a combination of conventional and natural, whether they feel like they're going to go full conventional, that say, you know what? I can do this. Very the smaller percentage is the ones that are like me that go, I think I can do this naturally without modern intervention. Um, the intimidation is real. They go on the conveyor belt
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then that's the end of that. "Oh, we got to get you in. You mean you're feeling fine before, and all of a sudden you've got to get in there and get it cut out, and you got to go for chemo." And
Exactly.
I was feeling fine.
Exactly.
So my first, suggestion is to really do what I did, which is to say, I need some time. And
Exactly.
really think about it. Do not let yourself be intimidated
Like,
by professionals.
that's right.
Not to do what they say. It's always nice to have a doctor's, overview. Right? But like Carrie said, trust your gut.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I did. I did trust my gut. And when my husband told me that I would be dead within a year, I said, no, I won't. He said, yes, you will. I said, no, I won't. We got into huge, huge arguments about it more than once.
Wow.
Big, big arguments with him pressuring me because he loves me.
Right. Right.
He sees
Right.
people crying every day. Came
Right.
from a
Right.
place
And he's very indoctrinated in the belief system of
and
what
he
he says.
indoctrinated
Mhm.
into the normal
Right.
mainstream.
Right. Right.
So we got into huge arguments and I had to hold my ground and I said, nope. I'm gonna
Interesting.
I'm gonna do it my way. I said, if you want to, you can check in with me in a few months. I said, but I know what I can do. So I spent the next 4 to 6 months, well, about 4 months, studying every day for about 4 to 6 hours on how to heal myself naturally. I
Mhm.
flooded my mind and my body and my spirit and my energy with good thoughts.
Wow.
Flooded in really healing thoughts.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And I learned. I juice every day. My husband, do you think juicing is, very negative. You think juicing is gonna heal you? And I thought, boy, if you think that I think that, because there are a lot of people that juice and they still die.
Yeah.
They
Right.
still
Exactly.
so so
That's right.
so that not the juicing, but I juice a lot, plant-based. I took a lot of really, really good supplements.
Mhm.
Um, so I really infused my body and gave
Right.
it the
Right.
energy and the strong, powerful nutrition that it needed. But
That's right.
but if you do all that,
And let
and
me ask you one question.
sure,
What'd you do with the stress?
yeah, I'm gonna get to that. Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say. I said, if you do all of that,
Right.
you don't alleviate the stress.
Mhm.
It's for nothing. You have to do both. So
That's right.
I took care of the physical side, the eating side, the juicing, plant-based, and letting my body really strong and good, healthy nutrients to heal my body.
Right.
But how did I deal with the stress? This is really, really key. And I believe probably one of the most important things I did. I spent time every day listening to things that were upbuilding. I'm a Bible reader.
Ah.
And so I pray. I always did, but
Right.
probably a little bit more focused.
Right.
Prayer, Bible reading. That's how I always start my morning. And after that, I always listened to positive things, whether that was positive podcasts. I listened to somebody that I really, really recommend. There's a few people. One is Chris Beat Cancer,
Mhm. Yep.
www.chrisbeatcancer.com. I
Yep.
love him.
I do too.
Yeah, he has a
Yeah.
ton of stories. I listened to every video he had, and
Yep.
all his videos, for people that don't know him, are him interviewing people on how they healed their cancer, and most of them, 90% of them natural. I mean, we're
Right.
talking stage 4, colon, kidney, liver. I mean,
Right.
and they each tell their story, and they each do it in a slightly different way, but you'll get the gist of it. And I
Right.
listen every day, all day long. I listened to positive podcasts on healing the body, and I taught myself. I learned and I focused. and I took it very, very seriously. This is not when your life is at stake, and I know you
Yeah.
know this, Carrie,
Yeah.
and I'd love to hear your story one day.
Yeah.
When your life is at stake and you do whatever it takes.
Suddenly your priorities change, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, I thought I had my priorities straight, but I really got my priorities straight.
Yeah.
So, getting back to the stress factor, listening and learning and hearing all these people talk about healing and how the body is a miracle and how it can heal itself, it just flooded my body with really, really good thoughts, and I could literally feel my body healing. It's almost like when you hear a bad news report and your spirit sinks and you're like, oh, that makes me so sad or whatever. When I listen to these healing stories, I literally could feel all the good hormones being turned on and all this good energy coming in. And I literally could feel my cells coming alive.
Well, I
And
I wanna just throw one little tidbit in there,
yeah,
okay? Just to kind of verify what you just said. I was
yeah,
just listening to, a doctor, dissertation earlier today,
mhm,
and he was talking about, how and, we've all heard this, right? That people think, because this is what they've been taught, that cancer is genetic.
right. Yeah, no. Yeah.
Now, I don't believe cancer is genetic.
No, nor do I.
Okay. I believe that you have genetic disposition for some things, but it's not the genetics, it's the epigenetics. The epigenetics is the environment that turns on or off the gene, right? And what you just said, you could literally feel them turning on
Yeah.
because you were flooding your body and your mind with all this positive energy fields, right? Positive thoughts
Mhm.
and hope and love and just
Mhm.
pouring out what you were missing, which is how you got where you were at,
Yeah.
right? So now reinventing the wheel because you're completely changing the direction of your life.
Yeah.
I just thought it was interesting because he said that 90% of your genetic expression is epigenetics.
Right.
90%.
Yep. Yep.
So
Yep.
it's not what you inherited, it's how you're living,
That's right.
right? So anyways, I just thought I'd
Yeah,
throw that
oh my
in there.
God. That's exact that and that the study of I do a whole thing on the study of epigenetics. So
Oh,
yes, I'm 100%. I'm on the same page.
yeah.
So just getting back to your point, how did I overcome that stress? I surrounded myself with positivity and I rested. I rested my mind and my
Mm,
person. So every day I would lay in my bed, I would pray, do my prayer, do my Bible reading, listen to positive things, and then I would have a talk with myself. And I would
mm,
say, "How are you doing today?" And I would say, "You know what? I'm feeling pretty good." You know,
mm,
if I wasn't feeling good, I'd say, "Well, I'm kind of worried about this." And then I talked myself through whatever anxiety and stress I was having. So
wow.
my higher self, my optimal self, the person that lives and walks and breathes in this world, the best that I can be. I finally talked with her and she would say, "Hey, how are you doing today?" And I would say, like, "Hey, I'm feeling sad." "Well, why are you feeling sad?" "Well, this happened, that happened." "Well, is there anything you can do about it?" "Well, no, I can't do anything." "Okay, well, how much time do you want to spend being sad about this?" And I said, "Well, I don't really want to spend any time at all being sad about this." "Well, what can you do? What can you do?"
Wow.
"Well, what I can do is I can send love, I can pray, person, and then I would focus all my energy on what I could do
Mm,
and not what I couldn't do."
that's
And so
wonderful.
yeah, so I call it like the 5 and 95% rule. You spend 5% on the problem and 95% on the solution. And so
Beautiful.
I talked with myself. I told myself, "I love you. You are a good person. I'm
Oh,
sorry. I'm sorry that you know what, that I didn't treat you better, but I'm gonna treat you better now.
exactly. Exactly.
You know,
Right?
I'm gonna treat you
Yeah,
better now. Starting right now, I
that's right.
apologize to you. I am sorry that I didn't nurture you and care for
Right.
you as much as I should have.
That's
I'm
right.
sorry, and you know what? I accepted my apology.
They
I
and
don't
it's
have to
so
apologize to
awesome.
myself.
And it's awesome to hear. My cancer, diagnosis was over 30 years ago, so I didn't do it then, but I've done it since, right? And, like the bullying that, we hear a lot about bullying, but this was an epiphany I had not long ago that, when you talk negatively to yourself, you're actually bullying yourself,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
So, I
Absolutely.
mean, this is why, so you can also be a friend to yourself,
That's
right?
right.
Now, another situation I had as a child, I had a lot of childhood trauma from, family drama. And so I had to go back and be the mother that I never had. And those are also ways of sending love. I mean, there's just
Absolutely.
so many wonderful skills that are so
Yeah.
much more powerful than what comes in a prescription bottle or that comes at the end of a needle or it comes in a tube or whatever. So this is how we shift energy. That's what we're talking about, shifting
And
energy.
yeah, for anyone that hasn't done that, it sounds a little strange. Like
Yeah, it does.
you're talking to yourself, but I'm going to tell you something. You're talking to yourself every day, whether you're aware of it or not.
Exactly.
You're telling yourself, I'm too fat, I
That's
got
right.
weight, I'm ugly. You are talking to yourself every day.
That's what we've
Right.
heard it called, stinking
Right.
thinking. Right.
So what I did is I just made a very, very conscientious effort to love myself, to just be like, I love you. You are so amazing. And I would list all the good things that I've done and I would build my own self up. It didn't have to come from outside. It came from me. Yes, you've made some mistakes, but you know what? You're changing it now. And
Mhm.
I'm sorry that you had to go through this. And it sounds a little strange if you're having this conversation, but like I said, we're always having conversations with ourselves. Anyway, you might as well
Mhm.
get from your higher self and more powerful.
There you go.
Old conversations that I had with myself that I still do every day. Infused this enormous amount of power in me. I literally could feel it. And I mean, if you're listening to this and you just take a minute and you just say out loud, you don't have to say it out loud, even just internally, I love you.
Wow.
And you can feel it. Just
Right.
like, oh, like, I love you. I mean,
Oh, oh. And touch your heart, right?
and
Hit that with the heart.
I, a lot of times I put my hands, I didn't even realize I was doing it, but I put my hands on my heart.
There you go.
And when you do that, even if if you're like, oh gosh, that's so weird, try and do it. Prove me wrong. Like, put your
Mhm.
hand there and say, I love you and feel how good that feels.
Mhm.
That feeling right there is what healed me. A lot, of course, I ate well. I drank water, I listened to
Right.
positive things. Of course,
Right.
I did the other work too.
Right.
But that was key. And that's why, if people say, well, this person was plant-based and that person exercised all the time.
Mhm. Oh, yeah. Yep.
And they still died.
Yep.
I got news for you. They were stressed.
That's right. And I will tell you when I went through my journey, I'd done everything. My naturopath, health coach said, okay, changed my diet, read books, got educated, lowered my toxin exposure. I mean, lowered my stress, like on and on and on. Like
Yeah.
everything she told me. She came to my house multiple times and we went through things personally. I did everything. And then finally, after months, she said, I can't help you anymore. I said, why? And she said, because what's wrong isn't all of this.
Yeah.
What's wrong is emotions. So she sent me to a different practitioner who helped me kind of like cork the bottle.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when I dealt with the trauma,
Mhm.
I got remission.
That's what it was.
So I'm telling you, and that's why if you listen to people who really know their stuff,
Yeah.
they will tell you that every cancer is started by trauma. Every cancer has an emotional
Right.
episode, and it could be 5, 10, or 15 years before
Five
it manifests.
5 to 10 years before.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
So it can be years, but
Yeah.
it's like a beaver dam. How a beaver builds a dam, it
Yeah.
starts small, but as he keeps building, and this is how we are. We have the trauma that creates that break, and then everything that keeps happening on top of that just makes it bigger and bigger and bigger. And then you end up with like a cyst. You end up with some kind of a physical manifestation, a diagnosis, whatever. So awesome. That is so wonderful, Robin.
And
Oh my goodness. Okay. So now
yes.
what happened with your husband? So you're doing
Okay.
all this
So,
work.
okay. So I chilled. I learned how to love myself. I mean, I always love myself, but calm and deal with the stress and let it breathe. A lot of deep breathing, a lot of calming exercises. Okay. So, after 4 months, I was like, I think I'm better. I don't know why I just said it. I mean, I actually thought I was better after 3 months, but I waited a little bit.
Okay.
So back, I went back to the doctor, but I went to a different doctor because I didn't want to go to the same one that had my that had diagnosed me because I thought he might be biased a little bit.
Mhm.
So I went to a different doctor.
Second
I didn't
opinion is always important to get. Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't tell him about my diagnosis. I just said, "Hey, can I get a pap smear? I just want to get a pap smear." They're like, "Oh, okay. Well, we need your records from the other doctor." And I was like, "But I already took the test now." I said, "Okay." So
Oh.
we got the records, and so then the test results came back, and I went to the office, and the doctor was sitting there, and she was like typing, and she was like, and I was like super anxious to find out because I had been like pummeled by my husband saying, "You're gonna die." I mean,
Mhm.
he took a life insurance policy on me. That's how sure he was that I was gonna die from this. Uh-huh. Like, yeah, that he's very practical. So anyways,
Wow.
yeah, he was. I don't know if you saw it at the point. Like, I think you're gonna die. You're gonna die. I don't know what it was. But anyways, so I was very anxious to get the results. So I got into the office and I asked her, what the results were. She was really quiet, and I was like, you're killing me right here.
Mhm.
And she said, she goes, I got these records from your other office, and it says that you had this. I said, yeah. She goes, did you do anything? I go, no. I go, so what are my results? And she goes, well, it's completely negative. And I literally jumped up in the room and I was like, what?
No kidding. Oh my goodness.
And I looked at her and she goes, I said, you look confused. And she was like, I've never seen this before. Yeah, I've never seen this before. And I said, well, I just want you to know, I said, can you make a copy of that paperwork for me, the results? I said, because
Mhm.
I need a copy of that paperwork.
Mhm.
And so, she said, yeah. And then, so I took the paperwork home. I put it on my husband's desk and he goes, what's this? And I said, just read it. He goes, I don't understand. I said, those are my test results. He goes, this can't be right. Remember now, he's a doc. His brain is,
I know.
yeah, he's stiff.
This is his forte. He knows this stuff
Yeah.
forward and backward.
And I said, it's saying that it's negative. It's gone. He goes, he said, the test is wrong.
Right.
Says, you need to have another test.
Right. Of course.
I was like, "Oh my gosh, you're killing me." I said, "Whatever." So I took it, and a month later, I went to my original doctor, who didn't
Oh.
know, who did not know that I had a test from the
Uh-huh. Right.
other doctor. Okay, so I had a test, and the results came back, and I wanted to know, and I said, what are the results?" And he same thing, quiet, just looking at his computer. He goes, "Do you have?" I go, "No." He goes, "Well, it's negative." And he said, I don't think these results are correct. We need to retest you. I said, oh no, that's okay because I already had a test from another doctor. And so he's like, and he didn't say, wow, that's great.
Uh-huh.
No, what
I
did you
know.
do?
No.
He said that. He just
Yeah.
said, he was just quiet.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I said, I already had another test from another doctor. I said, so this is the second test that's coming back negative. And he said, "Oh, okay, well, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I'll see you in 6 months or whatever, whatever." I'm like, that is so sad, you know?
Yeah. I can't celebrate. Well, you know what? I had a very similar experience
Yeah.
when my second doctor reran my test. And I think, this is so long ago, but I think it was about 8 months from when I first got diagnosed until I went in. I had no idea. Okay. I had no idea that I was changing anything. When I got my second test results, now the doctor reprimanded me because I hadn't been doing anything, right? Which I had been, but she didn't want to hear what I'd been doing when I told her. She stopped me. And then when I came back for the second set of tests, and then she called me into her office, she wouldn't make eye contact with me. She was looking at my chart only, and we're sitting in this awkward silence. And she said, well, I don't know what you've been doing, and I don't want to know, but I'm here to tell you that you're cancer free.
Wow.
And I said, and she started to leave. And I said, whoa, 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 wait a second.
What? Oh, no.
I had no idea, right? And because she had already told me I better be preparing for the worst, like, how irresponsible I'd been being because I spent all these months, right? I said, wait a minute, are you telling me I'm a miracle? And she said, yeah, I guess that's what I'm saying. And I said it, and I just want to be clear on this. You don't want to know? And she goes, that's right. I don't want to know. And she left. Yeah, ma'am. I'm telling you, girl, that was like the big wake up call for me. I was like, okay, I think I'm done here. I think this is the last time I'm gonna ever saw a doctor. But it was the last time I ever trusted the system to solve complex health problems. And I just started like becoming a complete advocate of self education. And because, I don't understand how we as people have allowed ourselves to get to this point where we think education is only available to those who are going to a medical institution who've been hijacked by a corporate enterprise that is only about selling, their products, right? Pushing their product. So I just was like, I think I'm going to try a new approach. And well, 32 years later, I'm still here talking about it. So
And here I am, and unfortunately, the life insurance hasn't paid out because this
there you go.
one year, you know,
There you go. Wow. Well, I have to say, congratulations. That's
I
so
know you
wonderful.
do. Congratulations to you too. And you know what?
Oh,
Not we are not the only ones,
no,
right?
we're not.
Or thousands of case
That's
studies
right.
that you can search and have actually been compiled now of what they call radical remission.
Radical remission.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, and so we are not this,
Yes.
you know, anyone that has a desire to want to heal themselves, it is possible. I don't, obviously there's a lot of variations in diagnoses and things like that. And I'm not ever saying that that you might not have to go to a doctor sometimes if you have a tumor this big on your head. You
Mhm. Right.
there are certain situations, but what I am saying and what the lesson was for my husband was, I said, well, did you learn something?
Mm.
What did you learn? Right?
Mm.
Because the lesson is that, everyone, first of all, I think it's super important for each person to go and do what their gut tells them,
Yep. Yep.
do their research.
Yep.
Don't feel rushed,
Yep.
pushed.
Yep.
But do the research and then make an educated decision.
Yep.
That's number one.
Yep.
And then if you want to do conventional and you feel good about that and you feel happy about that, then do it. That's your choice.
Right.
But
But
uh,
only after you've done the research and you
yeah,
are making an educated decision,
yeah.
not an intimidated decision. Right.
Don't make the decision under the guise of, oh yeah, I did my research, but really you're just scared and you're being,
That's right. That's right.
take your power back.
That's
Give
right.
yourself a live at a time, a week or two or whatever, and it
Right.
takes time. You're
Right.
you're walking around, before, and
I know.
give yourself some time. And
Agree.
then if you decide that you want to go conventional, that's fine. So
Yep.
that's between you and yourself and God. And
Hmm.
and if a person decides, like I did, like Carrie did, that we want to do it a different way, don't judge. Don't judge
Right.
it. Don't rain on our parade. And
Yeah.
the last thing that I wanted was negativity when
Yeah, exactly.
I
Well,
was
what's interesting for me, Robin, I didn't even have a choice. I was told that my cancer was too far advanced for chemo and radiation and to go home and get my final affairs together.
wow.
Yeah. So there wasn't even a discussion for me. And but so
How
my
old
brain what's that?
how old were you?
I was 25.
Oh my word.
Yeah, I was 25. I had just had my third child. And being a mom of three babies, that was not what I was expecting. My first diagnosis was MS. My second diagnosis was terminal liver cancer. So they weren't even worried about the MS once they got terminal liver cancer. And you know what you just said? I went in completely vibrant, full of life, vivacious, this, young woman in her prime,
Yeah.
and they completely crushed me.
Yeah.
I came away devastated. I couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't function as a mother and a wife. I was completely bedfast. Emotionally, I was so broken by
Yeah.
that diagnosis. And
Yeah.
so,
That's what I was saying. That's what most people are. They get
yeah,
the diagnosis.
yeah.
And many people don't make it past
Yeah,
that for
I
a reason.
know, because I know. And what I learned is what the mind, what the you know, what the mind believes, the body achieves. So as soon as you tell yourself you're dying, the body starts preparing.
Body goes, "Oh, I'm dying."
I'm dying. So it starts
Yeah.
shutting down and you start losing your will to live. And that's where I could see in my mind was happening. That's the only reason why I went to a you know, allopathic approach was because
Mhm.
I was just desperate to try to find somebody who could give me any hope. And I thought my legacy or my eulogy will be that I'm going to give my children at least the solace to know that I did everything as a mom to be there for them, even though I felt that, and I could see this movie in my head playing of every milestone and every happy event in their life would have this black cloud over it because their mom wasn't there to enjoy it with them. And that was killing me, literally. That was killing me more than the diagnosis, was knowing as a mother what I had lived with as a child and then never wanting to leave my children. And now I am because of circumstances, not because of choice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway,
Yeah. Yeah.
oh my goodness.
Yeah. So, I mean, the moral of the story is,
Yes.
number one, take back your power.
Number one.
Number two, minimize your stress or completely get rid of it. And number three, build your body up with positivity, good
That's right.
food, good energy.
Right.
Anybody negative, they gotta go on the
They
side.
gotta go. That's
They
right.
gotta go on the side for a
That's
while.
right.
My
That's right.
husband, I was basically like, okay, you better like just give me some space because you're being negative right now. I know he didn't mean it, but that's it. Yeah, he was just worried. So I'm like, if you're not going to be positive around me, I'm going to take a very long vacation somewhere, or you're going to have to go, or you're going to have to zip it because I'm like,
Right.
so you have to remove the negativity
That's
and
right.
surround yourself with very empowering, positive, happy thoughts
That's right.
and take care of yourself. Carve out
Absolutely.
time
Absolutely.
and take care. It's life and death. It was life
That's
and death.
right. Well, it is exactly at this point, and one thing that Einstein's theory of insanity always stands out to me in this conversation, right? Because the reason why you got where you are is because what you're doing isn't healthy.
That's right.
So if you want to get your health back, you got to do something completely different
Yeah.
than what you were doing, right?
Yeah. You bet.
So yeah, awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Welcome. It's a privilege.
Oh my goodness, what an amazing story! And I
And
just my
I
hope and my prayer is that we're changing lives with sharing our stories of empowerment and our stories of success
yeah,
and the voice.
yeah,
So often when people hear cancer, they automatically think death sentence.
yeah,
And they need to not think death sentence. They need to think life change.
yeah.
Cancer is wake up to change your life. It is
Yeah.
not
It's an opportunity. When you get a cancer diagnosis, it really is a wake up call and a time
right.
to pause and reflect and ask yourself, um, what have I been doing to contribute to this and what can I change? What's all it
Right.
is.
That's right.
It's just the time for reflection on
Right.
how you need to make some adjustments in your life.
Absolutely.
Um,
The people in your life need to make those adjustments also. Right.
they may or may not, but
That's right.
yeah,
But I mean,
it,
as far as like demands, like they've
yeah,
got to stop demanding so much of us. Like, and
yeah.
we have
You,
to learn to
you
say
have
no.
to be the one that
Yeah.
holds the line.
That's
Yeah,
right. Right.
yeah. Because people will always take the course of least resistance.
And people don't have boundaries. So if we
And
don't have boundaries and they don't have boundaries, then we end up being the
you create
sacrificial lamb.
those boundaries. Don't blame your husband, don't blame your kids, don't blame your friends, don't
Yeah.
blame your boss, your work, don't blame your mom and your dad for how bad they raised you. Don't blame your finances.
Yeah.
Just look inside and say, you know what? I brought myself here. My body is a miracle and my body can heal it itself.
That is so wonderful. And as we close, that's what we're going to stop and
Yeah,
just
right
meditate
there.
on that point right there. The body is a miracle. And as long as you're alive, you can change any circumstance. I don't care if it's COVID or if it's cancer or if it's, heart disease, whatever your problems are, you can change everything if you just change something. Something can change, right? But doing the same things over and over is not the way to do it. Yeah,
baby steps. So
that's
I
right.
send you more.
Thank you.
I
I sent it
thank you
back.
so much for coming today. It's a blessing and a privilege to share my story, and I really enjoyed hearing part of yours. That's incredible. At 25, like I don't know. If I was 25, I would have had the mindset. Who knows?
Yeah. Well,
But
I didn't,
sorry.
but you know what? That's what the power of prayer did. It gave me the
Yeah,
mindset that I
yeah,
needed. Yeah.
yeah.
So thank you
Fantastic.
so much. It's such a pleasure. It's
Thank
such an honor to have you here. Take
you.
care. Thank you. Thank you for joining me here today on Living Prevention TV. I look forward to you joining us next week as we discuss home detoxification with our guest expert, Marilyn Rogers. Thank you for your time. And I hope it is my prayer that this information was life changing for you as it was for me. Knowing that someone in Robin's situation was able to take so much responsibility and be so determined to never give in to the despair that what a cancer diagnosis often does to people, I hope is as educational, empowering, and informative as to you as it was to me. So I want to say thank you again, Robin, for being here and sharing your incredible story. If you have a story you want to share, please join our Facebook group at Prevention Not Prescription and let's talk. Please also see us at alternacare.org, where we're reinventing health, healthcare, and health insurance holistically through our new membership. So I look forward to seeing you on our next week's segment. You have a great day. Thank you.